We got 30 people over on the live me. You know what that means. Get your news on with Ron. Just want to know what's going on. We're getting our news on today. Get your news on with Ron. Just want to know what's going on. We're getting our news on today. In between an article at Ron Placone. We go through it together. We'll make it our own. Get your news on with Ron. Just want to know what's going on. Getting our news on today. Welcome to Get Your News On with Ron, the world's first viewer-curated streaming news show. What does that mean? That means you guys tweet me articles at Ron Placone, and that is how we build this show. Thank you guys so much for yesterday. We had some tech issues with Stephen Jaffe. Some of the tech issues were on YouTube's end. Some of the tech issues was he was having some issues with the Hangout. We plowed through it together. So thank you guys so much for that. I appreciate it. Joe wants to know who are my favorite progressive commentators. I don't really have any because I don't really listen to anybody else. I just try to do my thing because I don't want to start to parrot anything on accident. So I try not to really watch anything else. Now I do watch some stuff when it's relevant to watch some stuff. I watch some of Kyle's stuff. I watch some of Mike's stuff, The Humanist. I watch, and then I watch some of the Young Turks main. I watch some of Tim Black. I watch some of Lee's stuff. And I like all those folks. I think they're all doing great stuff. And that's pretty much, I want to say that's about it. I really don't get to see a lot. And then I watch some of the other just general news programming on RT. And I watch, I still catch some of Democracy Now! And then I read a lot in The Intercept. And that's pretty much what I do. My morning's going good, Marcelo. So guys, I do have to make some housekeeping announcements first. And I'm going to start with talking about what's going on over on YouTube. Because it's very weird what's going on, and I don't think I fully grasp everything. So I'm just going to explain it the best way I can. What's up, Winkle? Good to see you, buddy. So I'm going to explain it to the best of my ability, just so I'm keeping you guys in the loop the entire way. Because I don't understand what's happening to me exactly. I don't understand if I'm permanently demonetized or not. So I just want to be fully keeping you guys in the loop. And maybe, you know, more than I do and can enlighten me, to be totally honest. So let me just lay everything out. All right, so here's what's been going on. And apparently some people are having issues right now with the feed. So YouTube folks, let us know in the chat if things are going okay or not. And if things are looking good on my end, it seems like we're live and everything's going fluid. But if you're having some issues, let me know. So here's what's going on. For the past couple weeks, yesterday you got the notification after the live stream ended. Edwin says that. Awesome. Perfect. So for the past few weeks, let me just explain every factor in what's going on here, because a lot of you guys have been so freaking supportive towards me. And you guys have been tweeting YouTube. You guys have been tweeting me. And it means an awful lot. So I want to explain what's going on to the best of my ability and to the best of how I understand it, so that I'm keeping you guys in the loop the entire time. Because I would never want to say something that's not fully accurate. But the truth is, I don't even know what's accurate and what's not. So here's what's been happening. For the past, I would say a little over a week, my stream will kind of like clockwork get demonetized while the stream's going on. And then I'll complain on Twitter. And all of a sudden it'll be remonetized. But it's after the stream's already over. Most of the traffic towards the stream happens while it's going on. And that's when they demonetize it. So This is a very annoying process, the whole thing. And I'll say, hey, they demonetized my stream again. Then a little bit after the tweet, all of a sudden it gets remonetized again. As far as my clips go, pretty much every third clip is demonetized. It's about that. I mean, I didn't like literally count every clip and see which ones, but usually you'll see a lot of my clips that get demonetized depending on the issues we talk about, and that's something everybody's dealing with. Now, YouTube released a thing that on February 20th, they would be demonetizing certain channels for good. And they would be demonetizing channels that have under 1,000 subscribers. Well, I have over that, so I didn't need to worry. Here's where I did need to worry. They were also demonetizing people that didn't have a certain amount of watch time. Now, if I had been doing Get Your News On with Ron for an entire year, I wouldn't have had to worry about that at all either. Here's the thing, though. I haven't been. You guys know that. My channel has been on hiatus for about 2.5 years, until recently, until this show formed. And I could not have done this by myself. I could not be doing this right now without Joe's help and without Pasta's help. So I appreciate it more than you guys will ever know. But because my channel was on hiatus for 2.5 years, my watch time was lower than the threshold they wanted to see for the year. However, even despite that, I did the calculations in my head to the best of my ability. I made some predictions, and I thought I'm still going to make the cut. I thought I was going to make the cut. And yesterday, my channel just got demonetized for good. Like, everything was just gone. So I thought to myself, I didn't make it. I was like, I didn't make the cut. I didn't have enough hours because, you know, my channel was on hiatus for too long, and I didn't make the cut. Winkle points out it's 4,000 hours. So, you know, and I'm not a math surgeon, so I was like dividing the minutes the best I could, and I thought I was going to make it. But yesterday, when everything just went dark, I thought, well, I didn't make it. Then the same thing happened to Kyle Kalinske. Obviously, Kyle Kalinske made it. By far, like Kyle Kalinski's channel has been active for years. There's no way he didn't make it. So I was like, oh, it happened to Kyle? What the fuck's going on? Now, that whole monetization thing that happened to Kyle yesterday, that not only happened to me yesterday for about 2 days, but it's happened to me before. It's happened to me before on random days prior to that. So I didn't know what to think. Now, all of a sudden this morning, as of right now, my channel got monetized again. So that's what's going on. I don't know if I'm not going to say that I've been permanently demonetized anymore, because now I don't know if that's the case or not. I know that it's happened multiple times. It happened for 2 days, which is why I tweeted it. But I would never want to say something like that if I don't know without a doubt that it's totally true. So I'm not going to use that verbiage anymore. But I don't know what the fuck's going on. So I don't know if I made it or if I didn't. I don't know if I'm monetized right now or if they just demonetized me midstream like they've been doing. Yesterday, they didn't even give me the option to monetize my stream. I have no idea what's going on. So I would never want to misreport anything as far as what's going on with my channel. But when it is literally changing by the hour, I'm keeping you guys up to date on everything the best that I can. You know, so that's what's going on. It's just me kind of monitoring this shit as far as like the channel itself. I'm the only one that goes in there. So I'm reporting to you guys the absolute best I can. They demonetize me, then all of a sudden it's randomly back, and sometimes I complain and it's back. So that's what's going on. Thanks, man. Thanks for the coffee, buddy. Pasta with the coffee. So that's where we're at. And one of my vids, Winkle points out, one of his vids keeps getting demonetized and monetizing it again. So I'm not the only one being fucked with. So when people say stuff about their channel and it changes a couple hours later, they're not misleading anybody. They're being fucked with by YouTube. They're just like, so I don't know why. I don't know how. I'm just doing the best I can. Kimmy points out, you are so lucky to have a pasta in your life. I am. I am a very lucky man. So thank you guys. So yeah, I just wanted to give that update because when I saw that the monetization was randomly back, I was like, I don't know what the fuck is going on. So I'm telling you guys, I don't know what the fuck's going on. And I know I'm not the only person that's dealing with this ridiculousness. So I just want you guys to know I'm doing the best I can. And I'm keeping you guys as up to date as I possibly can. And I really appreciate how supportive you guys have been. Our Revolution just endorsed Dennis Kucinich. That's breaking news from Colton. Edwin points out he got a notification after the stream ended yesterday. Austin, keep going, Ron. The Revolution will be televised. Thank you, Austin. I appreciate it. Move to Twitch. They treat you right. I'll have to check it out. I've been hearing some about Twitch. I'm trying to figure out Steam It. And I know DC's been sending me some info about streaming on Steam It, which I appreciate DC very much. And Rachel says, coffee with Ron Placone. I like it. I'm down. I'm a coffee fiend. So you know how that goes. Guys, net neutrality officially ended today. And I don't know if you guys sent me anything on that yet. You guys have been sending me stuff already. So let me get right to your articles. Let's see here. Let me try to get to the beginning because you guys have been sending me a lot of stuff. And net neutrality officially ended today. Let's see if we can find something breaking about net neutrality right now, just because it did officially end right now. Today is the day that the Congress has 60 days to try to get the CRA going. And of course, we have our state laws that people are pushing through. And of course, we have municipal internet. Did it end? Well, they officially repealed it on the books, but they have 60 days to pass the CRA, and they can overturn it. Oh, wait, here we go. So here's how it actually works. The unwinding of net neutrality will begin on April 23rd. You know what's weird? This is weird right away. 23 used to be my fucking lucky number, and I have changed that in the past couple years. Yeah, so there is a 60-day waiting period, but it was officially on the books as of today. So technically it's rescinded, but not officially. Sounds like political jargon, right? Well, it is, but here's the situation. Net neutrality ends and dissent is slowed down or shut down. Good point, DC. I'm with you. All right, so let's get into this article. This article is only 4 hours old, and because today is the day it officially went on the books, let's see what's going on. The unwinding of net neutrality will begin on April 23rd. Net neutrality protections moved closer to coming off the books today with the publication of the Federal Communication Commission's new rules in the Federal Register. So it's in the register. That's done. But there's still time for a CRA. Parts of the change are set to go into effect on April 23rd. However, the bulk of the order, which reverses the tough net neutrality rules put into place in 2015, still doesn't have a date for when it will be official. That's because the rules modify data collection requirements and therefore have to be approved by the Office Management and Budget. Once that happens, the FCC will publish another document in the Federal Register announcing when net neutrality protections are officially done for. The publication means that a new fight around net neutrality is about to begin. States and other parties may now be able to sue over the rules. Some have already gotten started, and a battle in Congress will kick off over a vote to reverse the entirety. I misread that. We'll kick off a vote to reverse the order entirely. So what is that referring to? That's referring to a lot of the solutions we've talked about. The solutions we've talked about are the state rules for net neutrality, states publishing their own laws, taking the FCC to court over these laws, and also the CRA, which is the Congressional Review Act, meaning Congress can use their authority to overturn this rule. And as of right now, they are one vote shy of doing that. Which one do we need to try? All of them. All of them. The CRA has some complications because it's got to get through the House, it's got to get through the Senate, and it's got to be signed off by Donnie Tiny Hands Trump. So we got a long haul there, but you know, you got to try it. I mean, public opinion's there. So if it goes through, then Trump would be very highly pressured to sign off on it, despite the fact that he doesn't want to. And honestly, I have a feeling net neutrality is one of those things he probably doesn't even understand. You know what I mean? So it's like, if the public demands it enough, and if there are some high-level donors, keep in mind, we have some unlikely allies in the fight in net neutrality. We have some corporate entities that are on the same side as us. Are they on the same side as us because they care about internet freedom and media democracy and content creators like me? Fuck no. They're on our side because it benefits their business model. However, in this case, take the unlikely ally. The fact that Google's on our team doesn't mean net neutrality's bad. It just means in this one, for instance, we have some mutually beneficial things at stake here. So let's take the unlikely ally. If we don't take the unlikely ally, guess what's going to happen? They're going to find a way to adjust their business model so that net neutrality doesn't benefit them anymore, and then we lose the unlikely ally. So if you want to buy this libertarian argument of like, oh, net neutrality is not a big deal because look at these corporate conglomerates that favor it, go ahead and try to be that partisan over the issue and don't dissect it for what it really is. Take the unlikely ally. So anyway, those are that's my thought on net neutrality. So this is the official. So it's on the books, but it's not quite on the books. We're not going to see anything till April 23rd. In the meantime, we got battles going on in the courts. How can you help out with battles going on in the courts? Go to freepress.net. Freepress.net. They're pushing through with a lot of those lawsuits. See how you can help them out. They're even hiring. They're hiring. So look into that. And do what I did. Show up to your city council about municipal internet. Because keep in mind, municipal internet, that is the permanent solution. And if we get good state net neutrality laws, I mean, Montana just passed theirs. We got ours in California. There's New York. That's great too. But the only permanent fix is municipal internet. Marcus just summed up the whole thing with some of the corporations being on our side. The enemy of an enemy is a temporary ally. Exactly. These folks are our temporary allies, but let's take the allies. When it comes to this fight, that's how important net neutrality is. That's how important a free and open internet is. Take the unlikely ally this time. Don't fall for the misinformation that net neutrality is not a big deal just because some unlikely people support it too. We can disagree the other 364 days a year with these corporate conglomerates. Net neutrality, we have that in common. We got to take the unlikely ally here. This isn't about compromising. This isn't about this is about seeing something big picture. And I'm getting a little preachy. What's up, Andrew? Good to see you, buddy. So I guess that's the update. That's the net neutrality update. Let's move on to other stories. Some of you guys have sent some breaking things. Like, I heard about this yesterday, but let's go ahead and make an announcement. Dylan Radigan, Styx Enterprises. Do you work for the band Styx? That's kind of neat. Why not? I mean, I'm not a big fan, but, you know, this is cool. Styx Enterprises, Dylan Radigan just announced he's running for Congress in New York State. Let's find out what district. That's a district in New York State. It's the Submitters District. But let's find out what number that district actually is. Dylan Radigan, Congress. That should give us the info we need. #21st Congressional District. Dylan Radigan is getting into politics. On Wednesday afternoon, he formally announced he's running for Congress as a Democrat in New York's 21st Congressional District. And Dylan Radigan, I guess he's choosing to play that game. And I totally understand. You know, Stephen Jaffe yesterday explained why he needs to run as a Democrat. And I totally get that. I get why Dylan Ratigan's doing it as well. And let's keep in mind one thing Dylan knows about the rot going on within the Democratic Party. He knows about the problems there. So, I mean, all I got to say so far, I would vote for him in a heartbeat. Dylan Ratigan he has courage. He refused to stop telling the truth, even when it cost him his gig on MSNBC. You used to see reports that are actually anti-war from Dylan Ratigan. You used to see reports that actually called out the military budget from Dylan Ratigan. Everybody hated him for it, but he did it anyway. So I'd vote for Dylan Ratigan tomorrow. And as Winkle points out, one of the things we always talk about on this show and others, it's policy, not party. So I don't really care what Dylan's running as. I don't care if he has a D next to his name, an R next to his name, an I next to his name, a Green Party next to his name, a DSA next to his name, an SA next to his name. I'd vote for him in a heartbeat. And whatever strategy he goes by, I trust his judgment because that guy knows more about politics than most people. He's been doing the work for a long time. He's been around a minute. So Winkle tweeted an actual article about it. I'm going to go ahead and give that a Get Your News On With Ron retweet. And there aren't many people where I'm just like, yeah, I'd vote for them in a heartbeat. Dylan's one of them. I'd vote for Dylan Ratigan in a heartbeat. If you live in the 21st District in New York State, I encourage you to look into that. And Pat says, I like Dylan Ratigan too. Too bad he doesn't plan to run as mayor of New York City against Hillary. Hey, I actually, to be honest, I'd rather see him in Congress. But I know what you mean. DC, Spirit, and Stardust. I wrote an op-ed open letter to Kucinich on BuzzFeed, imploring him to run for president. Dennis is a real progressive. I'm with you. I like Dennis Kucinich a lot. However, I'd rather see him be governor. Governor Dennis Kucinich just got endorsed by Our Revolution. You know, Dennis ran for president already. I think he's kind of I don't think he has a desire to do it again. But yeah, Abigail talks about Ajit Pai being investigated for corruption. That is true. Ajit Pai is being investigated for corruption with Sinclair Broadcasting. We did a video about it over on the Jimmy Dore Show. And I don't think that video has been released yet, but we got to release it soon. Yeah, he was apparently one of the other horrible things the FCC did is they laxed the ownership of TV stations. They basically further deregulated the amount of television stations one entity could own, and that really greatly benefited Sinclair Broadcasting. They were kind of leading that fight. Turns out Ajit Pai was having some backroom meetings with Sinclair Broadcasting, and he is refusing to release those transcripts. So is Ajit Pai the first person in the FCC to do something like that? Hell no. Hell no. But because of Trump's ugly face on politics, people are paying a lot of attention to what's going on in the FCC right now, especially with net neutrality. When they tried to repeal net neutrality the first time, people were paying attention and people were screaming at the rafters. But not a ton of attention was given to Tom Wheeler because he was Obama's guy. Well, Ajit Pai, who was actually introduced into the fold by Barack Obama introduced him into the fold. But nonetheless, he is Trump's guy. Just because Trump is the president, Ajit Pai was his appointment. People are paying a lot more attention to Ajit Pai because he was appointed by Trump and not somebody like Obama that talks nicer. And as Jesse points out, Pai is insufferable, which, yes, Jesse, you are absolutely right. Those videos he made are so nauseating. And I just kept thinking, I'm like, everybody that picked on this kid in high school, he's not a kid, he's like in his 40s, but everybody that picked on Ajit Pai in high school is so regretting it right now. And yes, yeah, he did get some flack. Joe points out people did call Wheeler the dingo. He did get some slack, but not much in comparison. Nothing compared to Ajit Pai. You didn't see like all these memes about Tom Wheeler. You saw some by people that were really paying attention to the fight. but not a ton. Not like this. Not to the point where when he's blowing up random celebrities' inboxes, they're messaging him back, calling him a piece of shit. That didn't happen to Tom Wheeler. But here's the thing. Ajit Pai is insufferable, and that helps. He is beyond... he is so grossly disliked. And it's because he's just such a gross person. Those videos he made were absolutely disgusting. And you can tell that, yeah, that guy probably got picked on most of his life. Not that I'm trying to bash him for that. I mean, a lot of people get picked on, and it's not okay. But you can tell he definitely did, just by the way he conducts himself. And now this is his way of getting revenge. So, yeah, Ajit Pai's gross. Ajit Pai is so gross. But, all right, moving on. We got a lot of stuff and not a lot of time to get through it. So let's start getting through stuff, shall we? Let's start getting through stuff. I want to make sure I start at the beginning. Let's see. All right. We'll start here. This is from Abby. This is from Fox News. So she put the disclaimer. I don't like Fox News, but this is interesting. So let's go to this. Pelosi's doomsday scenario. Dem leader could face rebellion if House takeover fails. House Democrats see a big opportunity this year to seize control of the chamber, but the favorable political landscape has emerged as a double-edged sword for Nancy Pelosi, putting high expectations on the House Minority Leader to deliver or face a resurgent effort to unseat her. The California Democrat has held on to her leadership post for roughly a dozen years, vanquishing past challengers and tooting her political acumen along the way, despite her party being the House's minority party since the 2010 elections. This year, Pelosi may face a do-or-die scenario. So basically, if Democrats don't have a big showing in 2018, they're saying Pelosi is going to be more in jeopardy. Yeah, clearly, because they've been the minority party. I mean, she's held her leadership for roughly a dozen years. And for 8 of those years, they've been in the minority leadership. It's not very good. And in 2006, it was virtually impossible for the Democrats not to have big gains. A stale ham sandwich could have reclaimed big victories during those midterms. Bush was at about less than a 20% approval rating, approximately. And hopefully, as Forever Voting Third Party points out, Stephen Jaffe will end Pelosi's worries. Hopefully, he takes her out and ends her worries. And, yeah, so I'm rooting for that. I'm rooting for Jaffe to take her out because regardless of what the Democrats do or don't do in 2018, she should have been gone 12 years ago. She is useless when it comes to policy. She stands for absolutely nothing. She is good at one thing, fundraising money. She admits to that. She's good at fundraising money. And guess what? They've been having terrible months lately, and they're bleeding money. And they were funded in 2016 by Hillary Clinton. So at the one thing she's apparently good at, she's even shitting the bed on that. So what positive purpose does she serve? As a leader, what positive purpose does she serve? And I'm not trying to be, I mean, it's not personal. Like this isn't personal. I've never met, I mean, I know people that like Pelosi, and it's because they've met her. And I'm like, yeah, I'm sure she's a nice woman. I'm sure if I met her in person, she'd be very nice to me. That doesn't mean that she is a good leader. She's not. She's terrible. Like... It has nothing to do with, I mean, she cannot even articulate a policy. She's not even able to. She's literally not able to do that. Like she can't. I mean, you can see the video of her talking about the better deal. She wouldn't be inspiring enough to convince me of a restaurant to go to. Yet you're counting on her to inspire people to go into a political party? Holy shit. It's beyond comical at this point. The one good thing she's supposed to be good at is fundraising money. She's shitting the bed at that. Democrats are having record lows. She is beyond the blind leading the blind. She is the blind leading the blind, being led by Tommy from The Who. That's what she is as far as leader goes. It's pathetic. So this Fox News article is interesting, but holy shit, man. Long overdue, and hopefully Jaffe takes her out so we don't even have to worry about it. Here's something unexpected from Uppity Bumpkin when it comes to Trump. Apparently, Trump endorses raising the minimum age to 21 for more weapons. President Trump on Thursday endorsed the higher minimum age for buying certain rifles and tighter background checks for purchasers, saying there's nothing more important than protecting our children. Trump said he spoke Wednesday night with many members of Congress, and they're into background checks. And now keep in mind, this is certain types of weapons. So it probably applies to weapons that I think shouldn't be sold in the first place. Here's the deal. When it comes to gun control, here's where I'm at. Semi-automatic weapons, got to be out. Magazines, got to be out. Sales at gun shows, out. All of that, out. Other types of rifles. You thought I said wages. I said minimum age to 21 for more weapons. Did I say wage? Maybe I did. I might have misspoke. But minimum age. Excuse me there. Tighter background checks, which includes mental health screenings that are required, which includes reference letters from friends and families and employers, which includes an exam, which includes licenses that need to be renewed every year or every other year. In fact, you know what? Fuck it. Every year. It also includes, I think that pretty much covers everything I want to see happen. Oh, wait, no. I'm not done yet. Ammunition. It needs to be extensively regulated. Extensively regulated. You should only be allowed certain amounts of ammunition, and you should only be able to go to certain places to fire your gun, and you're allowed certain amounts of ammunition. If you have a hunting gun or a rifle for hunting, you're allowed so much ammunition for that. If you go to oh yeah, no, I didn't. Sorry, Jesse. Thank you for that. Jesse points out required training. Yes, that's something else I favor. So what I favor is a combination between what Australia does and what Switzerland does. That's kind of what I favor. So so that's what I favor. And I know a lot of you guys, some of you guys hunt and stuff like that. I'm not against your ability to do that. I think if you want to hunt with a rifle, that's your choice. I encourage bow and arrow, but you know what? I'm not a hunter. I'm not here to judge. And yeah. So, and some of you guys you're like, I live in a rural area in the need for self-protection, blah, blah, blah. I get it, and if somebody wants to do that, I'm okay with that. However, none of the regulations I just proposed would stifle one's ability to do that. No trophy. Oh, yeah, of course. I've said that so many times, though. But yeah, thank you, Marcus. No trophy hunting. Yes, I'm against that. If you do that, you're mentally ill. You're sick in the head. And honestly, you should go to jail. So let's see here. Russia, election throws you. What's up, Ron? In Russia, Murphy says, in Russia, election throws you. Ron is a Russian bot. Sticks found out the truth. Don't tell anybody else. Pelosi sealed my congressional investigation. No, Ron, she is not a nice lady.
Woman, human. What I'm saying is, Mars Pluto, if you met her, she would be nice to you. She would play the game. She'd be very likable. She knows how to play that game. But don't fall for that game. She is a terrible leader. She is very corrupt. She has made herself very, very rich while in office. She is corrupt to the bone. Don't be fooled because they're a nice person. That seems like okay to get beer with. I have been on shows where I was not allowed to talk badly about Miss Pelosi. I did not appreciate it. I'm no longer on those shows. I actually got booted from said shows. Trump was going to ban imports of elephants as trophies. Wow, what a nice guy. Change hunting laws. Shouldn't be allowed to hunt with AR-style gun. I agree with you, Mars Pluto. You should not be. Frosty Buckets is calling for all the Russian bots to unite. Jenny Lynn says, we are all Russian. Well, I think I covered it. So Trump endorses raising this minimum age on weapons that probably shouldn't be being sold in the first place. Certain types of weapons. Certain types of weapons, not the best weapons. All right. Marcus sends this. This is from Newsweek. An organization that I'm pretty sure the editors, some editors got fired recently from Newsweek. I'm pretty sure they are the same editors. I didn't know you could ban spell check. Have you seen some of Newsweek's headline? It is a pathetic organization. Newsweek is pathetic. And holy shit, that's saying a lot considering how low the bar is for our corporate media. Chuck Todd is on television. The bar is on the floor, and Newsweek is somehow under the floor. They are under a pile of elephant shit. That's how pathetic they are. Jenny points out, if only there were 13 more Twitter bots, we could spark the revolution. Twitter locks Trump supporter accounts tweeting release the memo hashtag that Democrats link to Russian interference. Donald Trump supporters on Twitter using the release the memo hashtag, which Democrats say is linked to Russian propaganda, are livid after being locked out of their accounts. In a letter addressed to the CEOs of Twitter and Facebook, two Democrats in the thick of congressional probes into Russian interference asked for the company's urgent assistance to conduct an in-depth forensic examination of a social media campaign promoting the release the memo hashtag. The social media campaign began late last week. So, yeah, this is a cyclical effect of Russiagate. The cyclical effect is now Silicon Valley is determining what is and isn't free speech. That's what's happening here. And this isn't about, you must be sympathetic to Trump. No, I don't like Trump. That's not the point here. But you know what? Who's to say? I mean, and these establishment supporters, which is what they are, they support the establishment, which means they would go after a peace candidate the same way they would go after somebody that the military-industrial complex doesn't like Donald Trump. Wasn't that a hashtag started by a GOP congressman? Probably. But that's not the big picture here. It goes down to they're locking out accounts. They're calling any of their opposition Russian spies. And it's, this is the first they came for the communists, then they came for the trade unionists. That's what's going on now. First they came for RT America, and I didn't speak out because I wasn't on RT America. Actually, I am on RT International once a month, but I'm just using this for example's sake. I don't mean me personally, because I do Peter Lavelle's show once a month. But first they came for RT America. I didn't speak out because I'm not on RT. Then they came for the smaller content creators on YouTube. I didn't speak out because then they came for the large content creators. Then they came for all independent media. And guess what? When that happened, there was no one left to speak for me because the establishment doesn't speak for me, and they're not going to. Then, yeah, Xinhua, yep, Al Jazeera, yeah, Jesse Perry points out it's not just the foreign agent thing wasn't just applied to RT. They went after Chinese agencies. They're going after Al Jazeera. That's called xenophobia. We have American bureaus in other countries, and we would be screaming at the top of our lungs if they tried to do that to us. Meanwhile, we're doing it to other foreign bureaus here.
And this country suffers from enough isolation and nationalism. We suffer from that enough in this country. We don't need any more of that. DC sends this. Nobody wants to talk. This is from Steemit. Nobody wants to talk about what many mass shooters have in common. In the aftermath of yet another mass shooting in the United States, the internet and broadcast news alike are inundated with commentary about why this keeps happening in America. Some blame guns, others blame mental health, and still others confidently blame false flag events and crisis actors. I don't know what that's in reference to, but if this is hinting that the school shootings were false flags, no. 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 Let's see here. The United States has indulged in a culture. I don't think that's what this is hinting at. Oh, I think this is just saying others are claiming that. I don't think this is embracing that. Maybe it is. Okay, DC points out it's not. Okay, it's just saying that people are saying that. All right, understood. Yeah, some people are saying that. So yeah, that's fine. That's a fine observation. That is true. Some people are saying that. They are wrong and morally gross, but some people are saying that. All right, the United States has indulged in a culture of patriotic militarism for decades, glorifying this institutionalized violence as a sign of strength and morality. So they're saying that there is a certain military celebration. Chris Harper Mercer, who shot up a school in Oregon, was kicked out of the Army. The Navy Yard shooter was a Navy reservist. Wade Michael Page, who opened fire on a Sikh temple, was kicked out of the military. Devin Patrick Kelly, who killed 26 people in a chapel in Texas, also kicked out of the military. Ruiz was a member of the National Guard. Chris Dorner was a Marine. Micah Johnson was a member of the Army Reserves. Eric Fine, who ambushed Pennsylvania state troopers in 2014, came from a military family. One of the high school Columbine shooters, Eric Harris, came from a military family and was rejected by the Marines. So there's a military trend here, and is that the fault of the people in the military? The people that are usually there because they have no choice, because the economy crushed them, and as a last resort, they went to serve in the military so they could go fight wars for rich people and get killed for rich people and then be treated like shit when they get back home. No, it's not their fault. It's the system's fault. It's the fault of the PTSD that these young people are given for conflicts that we likely should have never been in. For, you know what, I'm not going to say likely. For conflicts we should not have been in. You know, we are one generation away from Vietnam, Kimmy says. By rich people. This is a system by design. Yeah. So yeah, PTSD is probably a big factor that a lot of these shooters have in common, or something similar. It's a culture of violence. And you know who else has a lot of PTSD going on in their institution? Law enforcement. People that have guns and badges that are really fucked up with PTSD. And they have a license to kill people. So yeah, this is an interesting observation. DC, thank you for sharing this. I'll go ahead and give it a Get Your News On with Ron retweet. And this is just another reason why we need to end the military-industrial complex, why we need to end the economy of war, why we need to end the economy of death. It's set up to fail, and when you have people that justify it, people that are like, well, Rome lasted for 800 years. Well, like, what we're doing is actually a good thing because China and Russia, they violate human rights too. Like, yeah, I get that. That's not the point. We can still have some diplomatic relations with countries around the world, or at least strive towards it, without exploitation of the Middle East. We don't have to have one without, like we don't. Vets with PTSD and mental illness, no guns for you then. Yeah, I mean, again, I think a mental health screening is necessary. And I think that, again, heavy regulations are necessary. And it's a case-by-case basis. I'm not going to say a blanket yes or no. But I'm saying that if you instill some of the policies that I'm calling for, we'd live in a much... It'd be a lot better. It'd be a lot better. Let me go to some of your guys' comments. Ron, something very strange is happening with YouTube today. I clicked on your link for live and it brought up a recorded Jimmy Dore video. That might have just been you like clicking a weird link. Maybe, I don't know. California Democratic Convention is going on this Saturday. Pasta and Fee will be present. So the Convo Couch is going to be live on the scene at the Democratic Convention going on. That's going to be down in San Diego. And also, yours truly is going to be doing some stand-up along with Jimmy Dore and Steph Zamorano at the Comedy Palace Saturday night in San Diego. So if you're going to be in San Diego, want to catch a comedy show, please do. I'll also hopefully be around after at some burners meetings and stuff like that. I'm not going to be at the convention a lot itself. In fact, I'm not going to be there. I'm just going to be at the stand-up show. I prefer to remain the outsider. Ron, I hope you know I get up at 4 a.m. just for you. Platypus, thank you so much. That means the world and then some. Hope you've been enjoying today's stream. You guys have been sending me some awesome freaking articles. We've not gotten through many of them. Wayne LaPierre is still nuts, says Marcus. I'm sure he is. Mr. Lorbo says, it's a combo of the easy access to guns, highly frustrated young males, no healthcare, very little awareness of mental health issues, and a society that mainly defines itself by exerting power over another. Boom. Yeah. Yeah. You summed it up way better than I did. We could have saved 5 minutes of my babbling by just reading what you wrote. You did it much better than me. So that's why you guys help make this show great, because sometimes you sum it up in a way that I just can't. I'm like, well, it's all this, it's all this, it's all this. I just want to make it clear that, when we talk about the military, I blame the powerful, not the powerless. And that's an important distinction to make. I blame the powerful, not the powerless. James, I suffer PTSD. I rarely leave the house. I should get a medal for holding my shit together in this insane world. Yes, you should. And I don't know what you've been through, James. And you certainly don't need to share it. If you want to, you can. If you don't want to, that's totally cool. But, I have a cousin that he did 4 tours in Afghanistan. I talk about him a lot, so you guys have probably heard me talk about him before. But, I've always been adamantly anti-war. And, in fact, what made me a big lefty was Iraq. I was a senior in high school when a lot of that was going down. And I was thinking I was pretty apolitical prior to that. I wasn't, I was in high school. I was concerned with dating and girls. I wasn't in punk rock. I wasn't really concerned with politics that much. But I was like, why the hell are we going to war with Iraq? Why is that happening? There's no reason for that to be happening. Then I learned about how corrupt our media is. Then I learned about how corrupt the Bush administration is. And I became a huge lefty. Then we failed to stop George Bush in 2004, and I got further to the left. Anyway, so my cousin in the meantime did 4 tours in Afghanistan. He lost his engagement. He's not had a stable relationship since. He's in his 30s now. And when you're with him, he'll just kind of wander off sometimes. He'll just kind of his face will just go blank, and you realize he's not in the conversation anymore. It sucks. It sucks. He can't talk about what really went on over there. He tries to. He can't do it. His mom and his dad, nice people, good hearts, but a little clueless to the way the world really works. And they celebrate. They celebrate what he did over there. And it's not because they're bad people. It's because they just don't understand. They don't realize that what happened over there fucked him up big time. And what happened over there wasn't protecting our freedoms, quote unquote, nor was it, quote unquote, spreading democracy. It was just exploiting the Middle East for rich people. It was a war over oil. It was a war over corporate interests. And I think he realizes that now. But the damage has already been done. So I have no respect for the politicians that put us in these endless war. Marcelo says that. I'm with you, Marcelo. I'm with you. And that's why when somebody tells you that you're a purist for not wanting to vote for someone that takes corporate money, or you're a purist for not wanting to vote for somebody that's been behind the war machine for 30 plus years, who sounds less rational? I mean, really, it's just... Trump crazily proposed what? $44 billion additional for the military. Months later, it got up to $150 billion extra. I'm a civilian working with the military. It's all going to contractors. Of course it is. He wants to privatize everything. And what are the Democrats doing? They're giving it to them. The bonuses we get for the military could give us universal health care, could give us free college. But it's going to the economy of war, which, by the way, is set up to fail. All right, we're getting dark, and we're almost out of time. I hope one of you sent a story that is, I don't know, maybe kind of happy. I mean, it's not required. You can send whatever you want, but let's see. We only got time for one more story, so I'm going to have to pick here, and I hope you guys understand. You know what? Let's go over to the Reddit, because you guys have sent a lot of shit, and I can't get to it all, and I apologize for that. So let's go over to the Reddit. Privatizing, George points out, privatizing always ends up costing more and being less effective. Here we go. This is maybe something sort of okay. This was submitted on the Reddit. Hard-charging Democrat stands up to Kramer. This is over in North Dakota. I know you're thinking, Ron, are you totally fluent in North Dakota politics? You probably follow it every day. North Dakota, big mover and shaker. And I just found out that my iPhone storage is full, so I'm going to be deleting some Live Me replays just so everybody knows, just so everybody's aware. All right. So Ben Henson is young, but politically he's already made a name for himself. He's the hard-charging Democrat opponent running for the state's only position in Congress. He's running against Kevin Kramer, bestower of the title and the congressman too many in North Dakota know little about. Henson plans to represent North Dakota and Washington, D.C. Come 2018, I was not going to let this seat go unchallenged. Congressman Kramer, I think, is derelict in his duties. One thing I constantly hear across the state is, I call his office, he never got back to me. So let's see what this guy's all about. Politics is what we do instead of war. You shouldn't do this job without having a future vision for this country and for your state. I find this a huge problem with Kevin Kramer as well. Although the election is still away, the 31-year-old Hanson is running a grassroots campaign with more than 500 unique individual donors, 75% of whom are from North Dakota, and believes he has a fighting chance. Instead of filling a large campaign purse with $50,000 for a video produced, blah, 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 with modern technology, he can get a message to a wider, younger audience. So I don't know a ton about this guy's platform. Let's see if it tells us a little more. But he seems to be against money in politics, it seems like. So that's a good thing. Hanson's platform is easy to understand. He is for net neutrality. He is against arbitrary raising property taxes. He's for getting a farm bill renewed that works for North Dakota farmers, including crop insurance. Finding a national solution for cybersecurity. Healthcare. For Hanson, workers need raises, and only by ensuring economic security for the middle class can that be achieved. He wants to ensure that, all right, Medicaid, he's a madman, give him more, okay. More than half a native, okay, so it's not clear where he stands on single payer.
It's not, and we don't have time to look into all the stuff that this guy's into. But so I'll look at this big picture, because I'm certainly not. I'm not going to endorse somebody I don't know enough about to endorse or not endorse. But in districts like this that are often ignored, you can really go in there with a true populist message and potentially win. And part of the reason is because you're free from the corruption of the Democratic establishment. The DCCC doesn't care about you. You're not big enough for them to worry about. So you can have a true grassroots populist message and you have a chance at winning. So what some see as a disadvantage, you don't have the establishment behind you, that could be an advantage. I'm curious about what he says about DAPL too, Jesse. I mean, net neutrality is great. Support for farmers is great. He's supportive of Native Americans. That's great. I'd need to know more. As far as he supports living wages, which is great, but that, I'm not sure if that means single payer. So I'd be curious to know more about him. But that's one thing he could potentially do. And we had on a candidate named Justin Santopietro. I think I might be mispronouncing his name, but he's in Deep Red, Virginia. He has a very progressive populist message. He's packaging it in a way that can communicate with red state America. He's packaging it in a way that I find very clever. For example, one of the things he's doing, he's making the idea of Medicare for all a patriotic message. Like he's saying, hey, Medicare for all is American. And we should be proud of Medicare because it's American. Don't you want everyone to have that great American plan? That's really freaking clever. And I never would have thought of that. But this guy's in rural Virginia. He thought of it. He's also saying, hey, we want liberty and we don't want the government imposing on our life. That's a right-wing talking point. But here's how he packaged that message. He packaged that message as, so when we have a government that serves the 1%, that's infringing on our lives as the hoi polloi, as regular people. That's really clever. He's taking conservative bullet points and using them, but saying it, this is the angle I'm coming at it from. So he has a populist message that people that are trained to only listen to people with an R next to their name are going to listen to. And that's what this person has the option to do too. This Kramer's the Republican. Ben Hansen has a chance to do this in North Dakota. And maybe that's what he's all about. I don't know enough about him yet, and this article is our only point of reference. But looking at it big picture, that's something that can happen. Let me read a few more comments here, and then we are out of time. He's a madman. Give him more bombs. Keep up the good work, bro. Single payer will work. Thank you very much, and thank you for the super chat. Big Baby, thank you so much for the super chat. You guys find the best guests. Thank you so much for the compliment. That's very kind. The Republicans are pushing for single payer health care. Oh, excuse me, single prayer health care. Sorry, Derek. The Republicans are pushing for single prayer health care. All right. For a second, I was like, I'm not familiar with that, Derek. Can you send a link? I don't know anything about that. Antitrust just might be a dark horse issue that flips the rural counties in this country. Nomiki has an interview with the Sanders economic person. Check it out. Have a good weekend, Ron. Murphy, thank you so much. Thank you so much for the super chat donation. And thank you for wishing me a good weekend. Of course, we will be back tomorrow. It's not Friday yet. Sake asked, did Ron cover the Bernie betrayal yet? So let's talk about that briefly before we sign off here. I did tweet about it. And I tweeted what was intended as a joke. I said, Bernie, what happened? Which is a reference to the Hillary Clinton book. I thought that was funny. I think some people found it funny, but a lot of people replied very seriously on one side or another. Some people were coming at me saying, how dare you, Bernie? Ah! Other people were like, Bernie betrayed us, and we got to burn him at the stake. Not literally, of course. And yeah, I thought it was funny. I thought, like, what happened? I was like, Bernie, what happened? I thought that was funny. But nobody took it. And some people that really hate me, they were like, oh, look at Ron. He just found out Santa's not right, or something like that. And here's the truth. I don't put any politician on a pedestal, whether it's Bernie or anybody else. Am I really bummed out about how Russia-gatey Bernie is getting, yeah, it bums me out. Do I understand politically why he played that game? Yeah, I do. Am I happy about it? No. But there's a big difference between playing the political game by throwing some tweets out there to appease certain demographics and to avoid them not smearing you later because of it. And I will say this, if Bernie's not planning on running in 2020, there's no reason why he's doing that. There's no reason for why he's doing what he's doing if he's not planning on running in 2020. I'm willing to bet you Bernie's going to run in 2020. Is this, Kate asks, is this him trying to get foreign policy points for the election? This is him trying to appease the corporate media, the I'm With Her crowd, the establishment, so that in 2020 they can't smear him for this. And this is him trying to protect himself in case they find more. His tweets were annoying, disappointing, yes. They're throwing him pretty far under the bus right now. And I understand why people are frustrated. You have every right to be frustrated. I'm frustrated too. However, am I heartbroken? No. First of all, Bernie, I don't know Bernie personally. He can't hurt my feelings, you know? And he's going to run as a Dem. And if that means he's not getting your vote for ever voting third party, that's your choice. He's playing the political game. Everybody chill the fuck out. Someone in the chat said that. I think he is playing the game, yeah. And you can be disappointed. I'm disappointed. He doesn't have to play it as much as he is, I don't think. There's no reason to do what he's doing. Jenny, I disagree with you. I think there's a reason to do what he's doing if he plans on running in 2020. He's trying to avoid future smears in the primary. That's what he's doing. And he doesn't need to do that for the progressive base. He does need to do that for everybody else and to help him out in the general. Yes, he is, but who's getting played? I don't think anyone's getting played. I think that people, they're still going to smear and cheat him anyway. Sake, I'm with you. I am totally with you. Derek says Sanders is freaking out about the KFC chicken shortage. You're right, Sake. They're going to smear him no matter what. But, you know, if he has some things in his corner to say, I said this, it'll be easier for him to defend himself. He called his own followers Russian trolls. I'm not familiar with that, Frederick. If you can point me to that, I'm not aware of that happening. I'm not doubting you. I'm just saying I'm not aware of that. So I'm not going to say, oh, he did or didn't. I'm not aware of that. Nor am I trying to defend every action Bernie Sanders takes. You know, if you're looking for somebody that's going to defend a politician no matter what, I'm not your guy. I'm just saying I'm giving my take on it. I was disappointed. I was frustrated. I still am. But I'm also not like, oh, man, it's all over. You know, I'm not in that camp either. So, yeah, Jesse points out that's what Hillary supporters are for. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of Hillary supporters. Hillary could shoot a baby in the middle of Fifth Avenue. She could take a baby and tear it apart and destroy a living creature. And Peter Dow would say, let's not politicize this. And it's sexist to assume that Hillary Clinton is maternal just because she's a woman. That would be his response. And by the way, that baby might have been a Russian troll, so it's okay. Like, they would defend, anything Hillary Clinton did. And it's gross. Sake points out, Ron will defend a policy position no matter what. That I will do. Paul says Hillary lost because I voted for Jill Stein. Bernie is a bit of an anomaly, but I still have trust in him. You never know a man until you walk in his shoes. He's alienating his base. Yeah, I mean, you guys both have points. What he's doing is alienating his base a little bit. And it is frustrating. But he's also trying to play chess. And, you know, I'm not gonna say, oh, I would never vote for him now because of this. I know some people are saying that. I'm not in that camp. If Bernie ran tomorrow, he'd still have my vote. I don't think he's really into this Russiagate thing. I think he kind of sees through it. And, you know, the proof's in the pudding. He voted against that sanctions bill, despite how much it hurt him politically with the establishment. So, you know, you can be frustrated by this. I am too. But let's not have blinders on and not see the whole situation. When it comes to votes, this guy Bernie's, for the most part, when it comes to the Russiagate, he's been on the right side of things, despite it hurting him politically. So does that carry more weight than sending a tweet out to avoid smears later, or to try to at least combat smears later? To me, that's a way bigger deal. To me, the fact that he voted against those sanctions because he doesn't want to escalate things with Russia and he was concerned about Iran, and he didn't let the fact that the Russia hysteria and Trump hatred, he didn't let that blind him to voting against what he thought was morally best. That to me is a bigger statement on the type of public official he is than him sending a tweet to try to appease certain demographics. Was I frustrated when I saw it? Sure. Was I disappointed? Yes, still am. But I'm still going to look at it big picture. And, you know, if you guys are like, well, I've written off Bernie now because of it, well, I mean, that's your choice, you know, that's your right. But he is the most popular politician in the country. He represents the policies that I'm behind. I'm certainly not going to abandon him over the tweet. I have not seen the Chuck Todd interview, and I know I'd be grossly disappointed, and I do want to watch it. And I think Bernie's playing the game. Is he maybe playing it too much? Maybe. But I don't expect him to be perfect. And we'll see how all this unfolds. I might regret saying all of this. It's too early to tell. That's why I'm not, I'm certainly not going to write him off either. It's too early to tell. And as Kate points out, everyone makes mistakes. Also, I'm really bummed out that not enough people laughed about the "what happened" reference. That really bummed me out, you guys. Every response was really serious, and people thought I was like hurt when I was trying to make a joke. And so, I mean, guys, that's what hurts. Nobody got my Hillary Clinton book reference. And don't reply to the thread and say, "Hey, that's a funny Hillary." Now it's too late now. And it's my fault. It's not your fault. It's my fault. I thought that tweet was funny. Some people thought I was like doing a sob story. I was trying to be funny. So that's really the big issue here. In that moment, I failed as a comedian. Honestly, I was a little bummed out more people didn't catch that reference. I really was. Bernie still fights for us. Case in point, Medicare for all. That's right. Stick to policies. Don't focus as much on tweets. You know, fair enough, right? Can we all agree that's kind of fair? Dems won $300 million to fight Russian trolls. Now we will have free elections. Ignore the super delegates, the electoral college, gerrymandering. Ignore all that. Soul Rebel Bernie 2020. Are you holding a guitar? Bust out some jams. Ouch, GC, that hurts. I'm glad you asked. It's time for the theme song. Guys, we are totally out of time. I love you all very much. Even when my tweets fail, you guys stand behind me.
And I love you for it. This has been Get Your News On with Ron, the first viewer-curated streaming news show. What does that mean? That means you guys tweet me articles, and we go through them together, and that's how we build this show. Or you post articles over on our Reddit section, and that's how we build this show. Thank you guys so much for being here with me. It means the world. We do this every Tuesday through Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. I want to expand to 2 hours. How can you help me get there? You can join my Patreon, patreon.com/Ron Placone. Help keep this show on the air. YouTube is messing with us left and right. I don't even know the status of the monetization of my channel right now. I don't even know because it changes literally every couple of hours. I will keep you guys abreast the best I can, but I don't want to rely on YouTube anymore, and I'm not going to. I want to start doing other things. I know I'm looking into Steam it. We're still going to be here for a while. I'm not going anywhere. I'm still going to be on YouTube, but I'm looking into expanding into other things as well. And we're going to keep doing this show because you guys are here and you guys make it great. And yeah, so if you can, for my Patreon, it's pay what you can and you get all kinds of good perks. You get free tickets to any of my shows. Now, my shows, underline my shows. But any of my shows anywhere in the country, you get to go for free if you're on my Patreon. You're going to get my album. I'm doing an album this year. When it's done, you're getting that delivered to your inbox via MP3. T-shirts are on their way, and 50 of my first 50 patrons, you guys are going to get T-shirts in the mail. Also, my book in 2019 is going to be delivered to your inbox when it's done. Also, you get an exclusive Team Plaque One podcast every week. You also get an exclusive piece of content every Wednesday. It's either a writing that Lucy, my cat, does. Lucy writes some awesome dialogues, or it's a stand-up video that's not available to the public, a full stand-up set, etc., etc. You get the idea if you are so able. Patreon.com/Ron Placone. Start World War III. You can tweet me an article at Ron Placone. We'll go through it together and make it our own. Get your news on with Ron. You wanna know what's going on? Get our news on today. Yeah, 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 yeah. This has been Get Your News On with Ron. Thank you guys so much. Follow me on Twitter at Ron Placone. That's where you can tweet me articles. RonPlacone.com. Find out when I'm coming to a city near you. I got more tour dates in the works. And Patreon.com/Ron Placone. If you are so able, I will be back tomorrow at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. I will see you then. Until then, stay safe. I love you all very much. Peace.